Hello, everybody. I'm Geeta Nadkarni, and it's funny, I'm looking at my screen, and it actually looks like there's a delay. All right, welcome. I'm so excited today because despite the fact that I finally fulfilled a dream that I've had literally since I was 10 years old, I still haven't held my physical book because it has not arrived. Tell me, if you're one of the people that bought the book, have you received the physical copy yet? Can you take a selfie and can I live vicariously through you? Can you put that in the comments, please? Because this is craziness. I'm going to be sharing today about everything that happens when you're a high achiever and you set a crazy, big, audacious goal that you're like, I am built for this. And then you wait, you dream, you hope, you doubt, you worry, you stress. There's all of these emotions that happen. So what do you do when you have a huge, magnificent vision and you want to start living it in the present? That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about my 7-figure 15-minute ritual that anybody can do. If you have a ballpoint pen and a piece of paper, you can do this. It doesn't have to be a ballpoint pen. It could be any pen. I'm also going to be talking to you about how to deal with the obstacles that come up, how to use your entire body and use it as a manifesting tool. And we're going to talk about why we wrote this book, because I'm going to be here with my co-author, Maria Elsie, from our coaching team. We're going to talk about why we wrote this book and everything that we learned during the writing and the publishing of it. So stay tuned. Get your coaching business up off the ground, even if you hate marketing. Finally, tell me, those of you who are watching and those of you who are watching the replay, where are you from and what's your topic? Like, what do you coach on? This is a great way for you to get to know people in the community, for you to pick up clients from within the community. We don't really allow promotion here in the group, but this is where you get to say what you do so that people can find you. And I'm really interested. What is it that you're trying to manifest? Share a snippet of your vision with me in the comments so that we can bring it to life with the tools that I'm about to share. And without much further ado,
we had some issues. Just want to tell you, like, we had some issues at the beginning where we didn't hear you say about the selfies. If you want to mention that again, your microphone was muted.
Yeah, folks are saying that
it's okay. Yeah, but
we're
back now. We're back live. But you could just like mention the thing about the selfie if you want, because that was the part of what you said that was not included.
Gotcha. Okay, I see. Mayuri's here. Devorah's here. What I was saying is I still haven't received the book. So can you believe this? I have fulfilled a lifelong dream since I was 10 years old of writing a book. I still haven't held a physical copy of my book. I ordered 10 copies and Amazon still has not delivered them to me. So several of you already have. If you have the physical copy of the book, can I please live vicariously through you? Can you just take a selfie with the book and put it in the comments so I can see you? That would make me so happy. And if you have a favorite passage from the book, can you take a snapshot of the favorite? So many people have been messaging me and texting me and boxing me with passages, like things that have landed for them from the book, and it gives me so much joy. I would love to see that. If something landed for you from the book, then I would love for you to share that in the comments. That's all. I really, really want to see it. And without much further ado, I would love to invite on Maria Elsie, my co-author, who is amazing. And she's the director of coaching here at Impact with Influence. Maria!
I'm so excited to be here. And this is such an exciting day to like celebrate the book and talk more about it. I'm super excited.
I know. So Maria did get the book because she got the book. So
And I've been
you know,
reading it because it's like amazing to read it from the book. I mean, I've read it a million times on manuscript, but to read it from the book is like a whole other level of awesome.
I'm so excited. We were talking about how I'm currently recording the audio version for Audible. And those of you who've read the physical version, I was just telling Maria how I'm not sure how well it translates into the audio version, because the physical version has these little snippets, these little nuggets, and then they just kind of sit there and you can absorb them. But in audio, I keep reading, right? I can give you a longer pause and then it just kind of continues. And I'm wondering if it translates well. So those of you who've read the physical version or who are reading it, we got our first Amazon review today, by the way. Woohoo! Thank you, Jacob and Julie. 5 stars. And we're number 19, or last I checked anyway, that was yesterday. We were number 19 on new business releases. We've done 0 promotion for this thing because, again, I've been waiting for the physical copy of the book. So I haven't taken any pictures. I haven't put it out there. I haven't emailed the list. I haven't done anything. This is all you guys. And I'm so grateful. I cannot even express how grateful I am, because there is no way we would be number 19 in all of business if new releases for business, if you hadn't put us there. So I'm super, super grateful. That is absolutely crazy. Okay. So tell me what it is you're trying to manifest. What is one thing that you're trying to manifest right now? Because this whole conversation is about bringing your vision to life in the present. Okay. So I'm going to just ask Maria, what do you like? Why did we I have my reasons for why we wrote this book. What were some of your reasons for writing this book with me? Because we did it together.
Well, some of them are exactly the same as yours, like deepening our relationship, building new capabilities. But for me, as I looked back at this particular topic about how to live your vision, it was not just about, there's so many books out there about how to create a vision, but not really how to live it, how to make it come to life, the obstacles that come along the way, and how to actually transcend those obstacles, these deeper layers, more than just box checking on the vision path or the vision quest. And that's exactly what this book does. It really dives into the pieces of how to live your vision from a completely different perspective of box checking. So for me, that was like a huge draw to this particular topic. And it made perfect sense to do this book first, because it's like, this is the beginning. This is where we begin. And then we keep going from there.
I'm super curious. Thank you, Maria. I'm super curious, those who are watching and listening, do you consider yourself a visionary? Because a lot of us entrepreneurs, not everybody though, but a lot of us who get into entrepreneurship consider ourselves visionary. We see something that doesn't exist yet, and then we just have this unbearable, compelling urge to bring it to life, right? So if you consider yourself a visionary, just let me know in the comments that you're a visionary, because I'm definitely like a hair on fire visionary. And one of the things that visionaries really suffer from is what Dan Sullivan calls that gap. It's like you set the vision, you define where it is you want to go, and then everything that happens after is like you not being there. And it's painful. It's excruciating. And so one of the things we wanted to make sure that we did with this book was to not make the book that. We wanted to live our vision in the writing of the book, in the promotion of the book, in every aspect of the book. So when Maria and I first discussed like writing this book together, we were like, okay, what do we really want? If we never sell a copy, what does success look like other than that, right? Other than revenue or other than something like that. And we decided it was to develop capability, right, Maria?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's like learning this new type and level of teamwork, learning to write together. I mean, I've been a writer my whole life, but I've never been an author before. So that was a new level of capability. Maria and I had never worked this closely before. So I was just like, man, this is just a big old excuse to hang out with you and spend, work together and have endless meetings where we develop content together, which is so much fun. That was really beautiful. And then, yeah. And like, do you feel like, we teach some of these pieces in our program, right? Like with a lot of like visualization, some of these concepts are literally training from our actual paid program. So if anybody's, kind of on the fence about working with us and you want to get a taste of the goods, like this book is like your $20 ticket in. And I'll talk about the pricing in just a second. But did you find, Maria, that your understanding and your ability to teach what we teach in the program shifted as a result of writing this book?
Absolutely. Because first of all, we took the step back of looking at what are all the ways that we get paid, right? And so those are like the building of the capabilities, building of our relationship, deepening our understanding of the work, which then translates and transmutes into teaching it better. So I feel like from being able to co-create together in this way, we've both been able to get deeper and deeper into what it is that we teach so that we can find all the different nuances that help to communicate it that much better to our audience and to our clients.
Exactly. And so here, and you know what was really interesting? So I mentioned the price. So when obviously I've been living in the high ticket world, the premium world for a really long time. So the idea of I've seen how a lot of people do their book promotions and how much work it is and how marketing-y, is that a word? It gets when you're doing a big old book launch and then you become an Amazon bestseller and all this other jazz. And I was like, oh God, kill me now. Like, I just cannot motivate myself to do all that work for $20 sales. Like I cannot get out of bed for $20 sales. Like I just can't do it. So then I thought, so that was my resistance. And it was really interesting because I was excited to write the book and I was absolutely not excited to promote the book. And I knew that I had to overcome my own resistance to this if I wanted my work to hit the world and get into your hands. And so we came up with a really cool strategy that ended up being so perfect. And I talk about this. There's in the introduction of the book, it's called From Geeta's Desk. And I have this whole section where I talk about why I did the book the way that it happened. And what's weird about it, guys, is that I didn't plan it this way. It kind of happened organically, where I was like, I don't feel like making $20 sales. It's because ultimately, like when you sell a $20 book, you actually only make maybe $10 or $9 from it because there are all these costs involved. Just FYI, if you want to write a book. So I was like, what if I gave the money away? Now I was excited. So just so you know, when you buy this book, 100% of the profits go to Operation Underground Railroad. 100%. We keep zero money. In fact, we have lost money. We have put money into creating this book. We are making zero money from this book. I really want to get it into the hands of as many people as possible, because even if you absolutely hate the book, which I don't think you will, I hope you won't, you will have helped save lives from human trafficking, which I think is everybody's problem. So this was such an amazing opportunity to contribute in a meaningful way. Do you want to talk about what we learned from this process?
From the book writing process together?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, so one of the things I learned, which I already knew on a level, but bringing it a much deeper layer, was that co-creation gives birth to unimaginable creativity. Like it really, really does. And surrendering to this willingness to co-create and see what evolves and what really expands and is birthed. And that's exactly what happened in this process. You know, Geeta came with her vision and her ideas and her thoughts, and I came with my vision, ideas, and thoughts. But when we came together and we asked each other questions, this whole other thing was birthed that wouldn't have happened without really committing to this co-creation process. And it's really what we do in Impact with Influence too. It's this co-creative process that births something amazing.
100%. It's funny because I do the Be More Possible practice. So I talk about my 15-minute ritual. And when I do this practice, one of the things I do is I write out my wants. And then I don't just write what I want. So like, do I want a sandwich? Do I want a beach house? Do I want like whatever that is, right? Do I want a particular revenue goal? I always write in next to it is like, because I want to feel. So I want whatever the revenue goal is, because I want to feel. And one of the things that you'll notice if you do this practice consistently, you start to distill it to like a core set of either physical sensations or emotions. And And for me, being supported is one of those things that I really want. Like, I really want to feel supported. So doing this book co-creatively with you, Maria, and with the rest of the team, I mean, there was Sarah, there was Pat, there was our publisher, there was the editor, there was the whole team that came together to create this book. I felt really deeply supported. So it was designed in such a way that I was fulfilling my deepest want before we sold a single copy, before anybody told us that this book was worth anything. If everybody hated the book, I would have still fulfilled that deep want. And that was super important. And we designed it because I knew what I was actually going after. And that's really powerful. So
It's so powerful.
Yeah. I love your point. Go ahead.
It also gave, just to sort of kind of piggyback on what you just said, and it gave me an opportunity to be that support, because that's a lot of where my zone of genius is as well. So finding this, doing the co-creation like this, where we fit together in such a way that the magic can really happen.
100%. Teamwork and collaboration speed things up. I can tell you, I mean, all of you, I don't know how you feel about me as a writer, but generally I like to think I'm a pretty dang good writer. I certainly enjoy the process. God knows I've clocked multiple 10,000 hours at it. I've been doing this since I was 10 years old. I'm 41 as of this recording. But when it came to the actual outline and doing the work, it was like, it's a book. Like, this is a lifelong dream. Like, it's such a huge deal. And I was paralyzed. Because I was like, I need to make it very profound. And it was like all these things that it needed to be. And I was like, I'm stuck. So I kept having blocks on my calendar where I would carve out time to do the work, and I would just get distracted and make a phone call and do some other shit and check Slack and all of these different things. And I was like, wow, I'm doing that procrastination thing that clients do because I have a fear. And then I use the clarificator, of course. And I was terrified that if I put myself out there in this deep, new, meaningful, lifelong ambition kind of way, that the world would just be like, yeah, no, or meh, or nothing at all, like worse. And I'm sure that's why the universe decided to not ship me the book and to ship the book to everybody else first, was so that I could sit with those feelings and marinate in them and integrate them. And it's been a great growth experience. But having you, so here's what was beautiful about this is at some point I was like, okay, I'm not making progress on this. And I had to be humble enough to admit that. And then I reached out to Maria. This is exactly what we invite our clients to do. Be like, are you stuck? Are you stuck? Nothing's working for you. You don't even know why you're stuck, right? Design this program for me. So I'm like, Maria, help me. I don't know what I'm doing. And you know what? Deep down, one of the things that came through the clarificator was I was really very anxious that Maria would read something random. Like, she would read something that I'd written and she would be like, oh, wow, Geeta is really not as smart as I thought she was. And I don't know if I want to work with her anymore. And like, there were all these, like, it's so funny. This is exactly what came up for me. And so I was like, I'm paralyzed. I need your help. And then we just got on a call and we talked through it, same as what we do on our group coaching calls. And boom, the book's done. Like, it was so fast. It was crazy. When I stopped trying to do it myself and I actually did it with you, where you were able to basically ask me a few questions, where all the genius was there. It was just covered up with all this fear and doubt and self-recrimination. All you did was ask me questions.
Okay, and I have to reflect something back to you, because this is a perfect example of what really all of us do at one time or another. So Geeta had all these fears. But for me, I never doubted that we were going to write an amazing book. Like, literally, I never doubted that what was going to come out of that in the writing process from what she was going to put on paper. I never doubted that it wasn't going to be awesome, because I work with her. I mean, you guys all know how awesome she is. So it's so interesting. It's a reminder for all of us how just because we have self-doubt, first of all, it doesn't mean it's true. And second of all, it's really normal. Like, the more we normalize that and see it as an invitation to lean in and process what's going on, the sooner we learn that, the sooner we surrender to that, the better.
Yeah, I love this. And this is one of the biggest mistakes that high achievers make. And God knows, card-carrying member I feel like I make all the mistakes. And I've come to realize that I think the reason I make all the mistakes is so that I can make them, recover from them, get help, take notes, and then help, pass on and share the solution. So you nailed it, Maria. One of the biggest mistakes we make is we make self-doubt mean something, We think, right? Like self-doubt. If we're feeling self-doubt, it must mean that we're broken, that we're not worthy, that this isn't for us, that we don't have the skills to execute, that we were given the desire but not the skill set, all of those things. I think another really big mistake that high achievers make is not knowing how to receive. Would you agree?
Oh, yes. Yes. Card carrying member there too. So yes.
Like, how many times do we have clients that literally get everything that they ask for? Revenue, clients, all of this, and the pattern of angst, stress, etc. continues.
Oh, yeah.
And then they're like, right? Like, how many times have we seen that and we're like, so you've hit every single goal you set yourself and you still feel absolutely desperate and stressed, as if being desperate and stressed was a habit, which it is, right? And then what if you were to shift that, and then you can feel whatever you think you need, you think you need the revenue, like whatever that finish line is that you've set yourself. You're like, if once I get there, I'll be able to feel whatever that is, free, peaceful, joyful, supported, allowed, worthy. What if you started to feel it in baby steps today? And what if you used that as fuel to nourish you and create the endurance for you to then stay in the game long enough to get to the actual finish line and blow past it? That's what I see. How many high achievers, how many of you, first of all, identify as high achievers? Put that in the comments, please. And then if you do identify as a high achiever, and assuming you haven't worked with us yet, because we make all our clients develop daily rituals, how many of you have a daily ritual? Aw, thanks, Mayuri. How many of you have a daily ritual? Because I will tell you this, when I was a mess, somebody said, I have so many ideas, what I lack is focus. You want to learn what is truly important to you, what's a true priority to you. You need to have a practice that harvests that information, where you pay attention. You give yourself the gift of your own attention. How much do you give that gift of attention to other people, other things, Netflix, social, things you buy, whatever that is, right? But so often we don't give ourselves the gift of our most precious commodity, which is our attention. That's what the 15-minute ritual really is about. So let's go into the 7-figure daily ritual. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Be More Possible journal practice. Do you want to walk us through the steps? Like, let's go back and forth so that, I'm not just talking and you're just sitting there. What's step 1?
So for the want practice, for the Be More Possible.
Yes, correct.
So we write down
the one practice.
You write down something that you want. As simple as that.
Something that I want, big, small, now, later.
All of the above. You write down what it is that you want and you make it small. In fact, small is great. There's nothing wrong with small. There's nothing wrong with big. You write it down.
Yeah. So Maria, do you want to give us an example of something that you would have written, like something that you want?
Okay. So many different things. Well, one of the ones that comes to mind is confidence. That's a pretty big and elusive one. So if I'm wanting more confidence in a particular area, actually, you know what? I'm going to switch that to focus, because we had somebody come into the chat and say that. So that's something that I used to really wrestle with, was focus. I had a lot of big ideas, a lot of big desires, but I felt this lack of focus. So what I would do then is, I could say I want more focus, but then to make it even a little bit smaller, I can say, I want more focus in the time that I'm sitting down to write my content. So that would be something specific. I want more focus in the time I sit down to write more content.
And then the real magic of this ritual is you say, I want, so in this case, Maria would say, I want more focus in the time that I'm sitting down to write my content. And you say, because I want to feel. Now, obviously, over time, as you do this practice every day, what I do now is I'll say what I want, I'll write what I want. And then in brackets, I'll put either the feeling, the emotion, or the physical sensation that I want to feel. I want to feel relaxed, for example, would be a physical sensation. Or so, for example, I want to feel more focused. Why? Because ultimately you want more confidence in your abilities, right?
Exactly.
So like those two are actually tied together.
Yes. And so to hone in on the feeling, then I become more aware of overwhelm that tends to make me feel more scattered. I become more aware of what draws me away. So if I want to look into the feeling, for me, it's a feeling of groundedness. I want to feel more assurance and more confidence that I actually know what I'm doing. I actually know what I'm writing. And then that is what I focus on as far as the core emotions.
There you go. So that's the one practice. So your commitment is literally just one per day. That's the commitment. That's your tiny habit that you're creating. You write one thing that you want and the feeling that you want, that you believe it will evoke in you. Getting the thing will evoke in you. So, Maria just talked about the fact that she wants to feel assurance. She wants to feel confidence, and she wants to feel confident that she knows what she's doing. Now think about that. Now she understands that focus is not actually the end goal. Focus is the means to the end. And now she is consciously aware of what the end is. Now she can notice, right, Maria, now you're noticing during your day, when is it that I'm feeling that assurance? When am I feeling grounded? So you can start noticing, oh, I'm feeling grounded right now. What am I doing? Where is this coming to me naturally? And you can start to hone in and be like, oh, these environmental conditions create groundedness. This physical sensation creates groundedness. The way that I'm sitting, the sequence of events that led up to this moment, my mood, whatever it is, like the stories I'm telling, my inner self-talk, my inner critic talk has created groundedness in this moment. So you can start to, like, all of this happens subconsciously. The problem is there's no conversation happening between your conscious and your subconscious. And so your conscious is like, goals, 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 do. And your subconscious is like, la, 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 I'm doing all of these other things. This creates that synchronicity and this connection between the two. So
okay,
now,
and you bring up such a good point about noticing throughout the day, because most of the time we tend to notice when we're not feeling the way we want to feel, right? So this is a way to start to celebrate and flip that around to noticing when we do feel the way that we want to feel. And you might end up being surprised, like, oh, I do feel this more than I thought I did. But sometimes we come to a situation where we really are struggling to notice that throughout the day. And that's when it's the opportunity to sit and just remember when you have felt that and feel into that memory. That sometimes is the step to then bring it into your everyday experience, even if it's just a little bit. Reach back to when you felt it in the past so that you can bring it into your present.
The positive emotion, just to clarify.
Exactly.
Correct?
The positive. Exactly.
Yes.
The groundedness, the confidence. Exactly.
Exactly. So as I'm going to encapsulate the 15-minute ritual. I'm going to just break it down real quick. You start with one want, just something you want and the way it makes you feel. If you have 10, do 10. I typically do anywhere between 10 and 15 every morning. But sometimes if I'm in a rush, I'll just do one. One is the commitment. Then throughout the day, what I'll do is I have reminders set up on my phone, but you can have Post-its. I've done Post-its. I've done like little notes to myself. I have them written sometimes in my planner pages. There are two core questions that you're going to ask yourself. One is, what help am I willing and able to receive? That's one question. And the other question is, what is the best and highest use of my time? Now, here's what I love about these questions. I call them ponderisms. So these are questions that you want to think about. So obviously you're going to get a very different answer and a very different experience when you think about them consciously. When you're like, oh, I look at the question and I'm thinking about the answer and I'm like, what help am I willing and able to receive? That's very interesting because it's willing and able to receive. Now, what help do I want? This is like, am I willing to actually receive it when it shows up in my life? And what is the best and highest use of my time? Sometimes you won't get an answer right away, or it won't be a clear answer because your conscious mind is like, not sure. But what's really cool about this is the reason I like to have it on Post-its and the reason I like to have it pop up as a reminder on my phone is because, nope, it's not this one. This is later. It's not this one. The reason I have, what's the best and highest use of my time and what help am I willing and able to receive is because then in my subconscious starts to think about it. So even though I'm doing other things, I'm actively coaching somebody, I'm in a meeting, I'm writing something, my subconscious is working on this in the background. And I start to notice that I'm willing, when somebody offers me help, now I'm consciously my subconscious and conscious are connected. So now when somebody offers me help, I'm much more likely to say, oh, yes, I would love that help. Now, guess what? I'm feeling more supported, which is one of my core wants, right? So I'm bringing it and I'm controlling the process. Is this the best and highest use of my time? I'm about to go do something and I'm like, wait, is this the best and highest use of my time? And I'm like, no, it's not. This is stupid. I'll delegate it, I'll delete it, or I'll automate it. And I get it off my schedule. So again, I'm starting to live the freedom. Most of us, in some way, shape, or form, our vision is connected to a sense of freedom. Well, guess what? You can start creating that freedom right here, right now, without having to make $1 million, without having to get 10,000 clients, without any of the things that need to come to pass that will stabilize the freedom. But you can start creating the freedom in the present. Does that make sense? And then the final piece, Maria, maybe you could talk about this one, is the evening practice, where it is all about, in the morning, you started your day by wanting or setting an intention. During the day, you pondered, how do I receive this? Like, what are the different ways in which I'm willing to receive this? And at the end of the day, you talk about, what did I receive? You start harvesting your abundance. So talk about the 3 types of things that I typically look at when it comes to receiving.
Are gratitudes, synchronicities, and miracles. So gratitudes are just what you're grateful for. Just simply seeing what you're grateful for that happened throughout the day. It really can be anything, just exercising your gratitude muscle. Synchronicities are actually my favorite, because those are the times, those are the signs when, you're thinking about something and somebody else says something just like it, or you have those moments of synchronicity with a person, or with a message that you receive, something that tells you, oh my goodness, it's working. Like, that's a sign that I can't make that up. They're the things that maybe feel like coincidences, but they're not a coincidence. It's a synchronicity. And then miracles. I'm going to let you explain the miracles, Geeta, because you explain them so well.
So I love miracles. So to me, miracles are just little pops of abundance, and they can be big, like you made a huge sale, you landed your first premium client, like that's feels like a miracle. But my favorite miracles are usually the small, mundane ones. Like, I'm making a sandwich for the kids and they love ketchup in their sandwiches, and I'm like, man, we're out of ketchup. And then I go to the cupboard and there's a whole new bottle of ketchup there that I completely forgot about, that I had no idea was there. There it is. It's where you notice that you're receiving something right when you need it. It's that the universe has your back. This idea that you receive exactly what you need right when you need it. And what I love about doing this daily is that it expands your lexicon of what a miracle is to you. So you get to define what you receive as miracles. And the more that you do this, we had a client, Kakali, who started doing this practice. At first, she was just like, really? And I was like, yeah. So she started noticing literally 3 things. She didn't even do the want stuff in the morning. She was just literally doing just the receiving practice, 3 a day. That was her commitment to herself. She's like, I'm going to notice 3 things that I receive a day. A kiss from your spouse. Your kid brings you a little card and says, Mama, I love you. Like, whatever miracles you choose to receive, whatever it is big or small. And her business she hit her 5-year goal in 3 weeks? 3 weeks.
Really fast.
Because she was willing to receive. Like, you can really shift your energy and your entire way of being in the world if you're willing to receive what you freaking well ask for. Most of us are very good at wanting things. We're not always good at asking for them, and we're totally crap at receiving them, especially as high achievers, because we like a lot of control. So, yeah.
And something just to really reiterate the importance of that second step, the what help am I willing to receive? And Geeta, repeat them
What's
for me.
What's the best and highest use of my time?
Yes, yeah. What's the best and highest use of my time? It's really easy to gloss over those, but really do put those reminders on your phone, because those questions getting into your subconscious is what then feeds the gratitudes, synchronicities, and miracles at the end of the day. So don't skip that step.
100%. How many times have I, in my own journal, I've asked myself, what help am I willing and able to receive? The perfect person. How many times that clients know this, because I talk about it all the time on our calls. The perfect person, the perfect resource, something will fall in my lap. They will find me. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, oh my God, like the perfect person fell in my lap. I was looking for someone to help me with XYZ, and there someone showed up. It's amazing how often it'll happen when you start to notice it. Think about it. When you give somebody a gift and they're like dismissive, they're like, oh, whatever, they seem to not notice it. Would you want to give them another gift? I imagine the universe is like that, right? Where on the other hand, if you give somebody a gift, even if it's a small something, and they're like, oh my God, this made my day. Like, thank you so, so much. You want to give this person more. You want to shower them with your attention and your affection. You're wanting to go out of your way now to provide for them. I want to be that guy. I want to be the person that is able to receive with grace and joy. Yeah, there you go. Leslie says, I often use the following phrase when I receive. Thank you. I receive. Please send more. That's beautiful. I love that. That's fantastic. So how many of you here feel like you suck at rituals? Because I feel like that was certainly one of my struggles.
Me too.
Sucking at consistency, right? Shiny object syndrome, multiple squirrels. It's so easy to get sidetracked. Oh my God, I had 7 million journals. I can't tell you how many journals I have where I've written in like 4 pages, or like there are 8 entries and then it's like, bye-bye, it's gone, right? This was the one thing that I've actually been able to stick to. So let's talk about what you can do if you suck at rituals. What's the very first piece of advice we always give clients, Maria?
Make it smaller. And there is absolutely no shame in this at all. Like when I was thinking about this and reflecting, it's like, you know what? A 1-minute ritual, if that's what it takes to start, like that is totally cool. Make it smaller.
Yes. And like every single really successful person, consistently successful person that I've ever been mentored by or followed, Tim Ferriss talks about this. So many people I know talk about it, is we always overestimate what we can do in a day and we underestimate what we can do in a year if we do small things that add up consistently. Tiny habits compound over time. You will get much better results if you do 2 minutes of a workout every day than if you did 60 minutes of a workout once a week. And the reason for this is not so much the calories you burn or whatever, all of that. It's the fact that it is in your awareness more frequently. Because it is in your awareness more frequently, your other actions are more likely to align because your intention, your conscious mind has been pinged with your intention. That I think makes a big difference. If you have resistance to the ritual, and we've often had clients struggle with this. I mean, we have clients who are like, I can't do journals because, and typically what has happened is they've bought really beautiful journals. This has totally happened to me as well. It's like a gorgeous book and the paper is so creamy and everything about it is amazing. And you're like, I have nothing that is worthy of this journal. Like it's like, it's so, I'm like, I want to write about my day. Fucking nothing happened, honestly. Like, do you know what I mean? And so I've been like, I am paralyzed by the stage of it. I have performance anxiety almost. So we have clients who have overcome that by getting like cheap dollar store, like 60-cent notebook, 30-cent pen. You could get this done for under $1, honestly. So make it smaller in every way. Make the commitment tiny. Like we have 1 sentence in the morning, 1 sentence in the evening, and you think about the other 2 questions during the day. And there's the visualizing aspect that you do as well in the morning, which is where you feel into your vision. You write out your vision and then you feel into it with your body. The whole thing can take you less than 10 minutes. You can even do the visualization for just 2 minutes. I have a song that I listen to. It's 7 minutes and 35 seconds. So for me, the total minimum is about 10 minutes. But if you visualize for like a minute, the whole thing could take you less than 3 minutes in your entire 24-hour day. So make it smaller. If you're feeling resistance, if you're like, can't stick to it, don't like, not sure why, use the clarificator. Go to impactwithinfluence.com/clarificator and you'll be able to use the clarificator. I mention it in the book. We have a whole section devoted to it. Pay attention to all the emotions, even when things go dead. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, Maria, about when emotions go dead?
Yeah. So different temperaments and different habits, people come with different sort of habits towards emotions. Some people feel a lot of intense emotions all the time. And then some people don't. Some people, they'll go numb. And all of that numbness is an invitation to sit with it and to peel And even to get help if needed, to ask for some help with some coaching or even with the clarificator, to sit with it a little bit more deeply and to ask, what's there? What's there?
I love that. And I find that if I have big emotions about something one day and then like for the next consecutive few days when I'm visualizing and I'm feeling into my vision, if that piece of it goes dead or kind of goes numb for me, then what I do is I don't panic. I just park it. I'm like, okay. I almost feel like sometimes there are these magic doorways that open. There are doorways that open in time and space. And when those doorways are open, it's just effortless when you walk through it. It's like everything falls in your lap, everything works out. It's just divine timing. And there are times when it's just a slog to get to something. And so I like to feel into that kind of intuitively to be like, oh, is this doorway open right now? And if it isn't, then I'm like, okay, no problem. Doesn't mean it's gone forever. I'm just going to park it and see if the feeling wakes up at some point in the future. And that has been really effective for me to manage my focus as well. I focus on the things that feel open and effortless in the moment. And then I kind of park the dead ones for later. But I make sure that I'm compounding. So again, it all makes sense. I've laid it all out in the book. The final piece I'm going to tell you about when you're struggling with rituals is to habit stack. So this is a really common, I don't know if James Clear came up with the concept. He certainly made it popular. It's this idea of, for example, if you're going to do this ritual, for me, I have my journal. It's always I do this at my dining table. So last thing at night, I'm going to do my receiving practice and I write my gratitudes and whatnot. And then I leave this there with my pen. And I know that I'm going to go make my coffee and I'm going to sit and I'm going to write my wants in the morning. So it's all set up. My environment supports the habit. If leaving your journal out, for privacy reasons doesn't feel safe, then you might want to put your journal someplace like in a bedside drawer or someplace where the first thing you do in the morning is grab it, get out of bed, and then you can like hook it up to sitting and drinking coffee. Right? That could be a really great way. We have a client who likes to visualize while drinking tea. She doesn't drink coffee, but so she kind of like, how you zone out when you're drinking like a calming liquid. So she kind of zones out. She calls it her tea of freedom or freedom tea. I can't remember what she calls it. And then she'll just like sit there and like feel gratitude for her vision as if it's already here. And she'll just feel into it while drinking tea. That can be if meditation kind of freaks you out or you're like, oh God, just sitting there, I can't do it. Then this could be a way to just connect to something that's already pleasurable so that it removes the resistance of it. I think that we're going to end with our 3 core ponderisms. So Maria, like we just picked a couple that we most like from the book. So do you want to start with yours? And then or maybe you can explain what a ponderism is.
Okay, so a ponderism is a question that you get to ask yourself or maybe ask somebody else, but really for the intents and purposes of this talk today, it's to ask yourself to go deeper into what you're really wanting, what you're really desiring, who you really want to be. And so for my ponderism that I chose for today, that I use on a very regular basis now, is what would someone who truly loves themselves do? And the reason why I ponder this one frequently is because this is the person that I want to constantly come from. And it really hones me in to who I am and who I want to be in every situation. It keeps me from going off the rails or acting in an emotion that wouldn't really be true to the highest aspect of who I am. And so, and it also keeps me from appeasing others just for the sake of appeasing others. So that's the ponderism that I ask on a regular basis. What would someone who truly loves themselves do?
I love that one. I especially love that one because even though you would think that asking yourself that question in the moment would make you do something short-sighted, like shut down a conversation or leave a relationship or any of those things, when you really feel into the intention of the question, you will realize that it asks for both short, medium, and long-term wellness. Right? It's like the person who truly loves themselves is going to do what's best for themselves, not just in this moment, but in all moments. And I think that It's a subconscious little trick to get your subconscious and your emotions to align with your highest self, not just the fight or flight emotion of the moment.
Yes, yes, it's like a distillation, because
Yeah.
sometimes I might be tempted to respond in a certain way, but when I weave that ponderism in, it gives me pause to then rethink, to
Mhm.
refeel actually. It's more of a feeling into it rather than a thinking into it.
I love that. One of my favorites from the book, and actually, Maria, yours is from the second book. So we're actually writing another book together called The Power of Ponder. So that's going to come out in a couple of months. And that ponderism is unpacked in more detail in that second book. My core ponderism that's included in this book is how am I feeding the problem? So I find myself, I actually have these on cards, which I use. So we're going to come out with a deck of ponderisms and we use these with clients as well. So I'll typically find myself drawing this card when something is eating at me. So like when something is really bothering me and I feel like I've been stuck here for a long time, I'll ask myself this question: how am I feeding the problem? And invariably when I ask this, I notice ways that I'm perpetuating. I'm feeding my stuckness. I'm feeding my frustration, my sadness, my grief. I'm scrolling on social. I'm comparing myself to others. I have some unhealthy habit that's keeping me perpetuating the problem. So how am I feeding the problem? It could be with actions. It could be with thoughts. It could be with inner critic stuff. It really helps me to open myself up to my own pattern and what my responsibility and co-creation is that's keeping the problem well and alive. So hopefully this was of value to you. If you're looking for more information, you can buy this book. By the way, you can buy How to Live Your Vision, the 15-minute rituals that manifest your dream reality in less than 15 minutes a day. It's available on Amazon. It's available both in the US and in Canada. I would love to see selfies of you with the book. If you have a special chapter or a special little saying or nugget from the book that really landed for you, if you've highlighted it, I would love to see you share it on social. Tag me. I'm at Life with Geeta on Instagram. Tag me here in the Facebook group. I would love to see it. And I will add to you. I will give you a ponderism. I will give you something to further reflect on if something has landed for you. And if you're looking for help with a team that really will be able to get you to the deepest layers of what you want so that you're building that and not some shiny object version of it, then use the link on your screen to book a call to talk to someone on our team about how we can help you. Thank you so much for supporting us. Thank you so much for getting this book to be number 19. Like, this is you. And by the way, the front of the book in the very first page has a dedication page where I intended for you to read this book. And if you loved it, I want you to buy copies for other people. And you get to write who it's for. And you get to write your intention for them as they read the book so that you can pass that on and have your essence be part of it. Thank you so much. We'll see you all next Thursday. Bye.